I really want to encourage you guys to evaluate how much news you're looking at, what you're looking at. And I really want to encourage everybody to continue to have their own opinion. I just finished reading a really great book, Owning Your Shadow. And the psychologist that wrote the book, at the end, he was talking about when he was in university, the professor, he had a debate that he had prepared for. And then a minute before the debate, the instructor said, now you have to do the other side. And actually, what I gleaned from that conversation and what he mentions at the end of his book, it's a beautiful read. It's a very quick read. It's great. But when we have differing viewpoints and opinions, when you entertain both sides, sometimes you can actually come to an even greater conclusion, which is really important. And we need to keep our opinions and be able to have opinions and not be afraid to question programs, right? Like, for example, how we look at ourselves. Canada Food Guide a long time ago, it's telling you to eat lots of dairy and lots of grains and all sorts of things that aren't very good for you. And so things change, and it's up to you. The onus is on you to listen. So when you're tuning in here, you're, a highly discerning individual already, but maybe this information could be helpful to someone else around you that's really struggling at the moment, especially young moms. I see young moms having a really hard time. They're not able to get that peace and quiet right now, and they're kind of inundated with things all the time. So do you have any kind of closing remarks, Caspar, and how people can work with you, what you found interesting in our conversation here, and anything else you'd like to elaborate on?
Well, everything I found interesting, and I do think that's part of maybe what people need to do. And I think there was something you said there that kind of resonated with me, is we need to think for ourselves. Critical thinking is essential for growth. Growth is essential for healing, and change is essential for healing, and our ability to deal with change is kind of everything. That's where, I learned about heart rate variability. And Darwin didn't say it wasn't the strongest or the smartest that survives. It's the species that's able to change the easiest, that adapts to change, right? And we need to be able to adapt and thinking for ourselves and always looking at what's out there. I am only here because my father was a critical thinker that said, all right, this establishment isn't working for me right now. I feel a little bit off, and my purpose and spirituality is a little bit missing. I want to go travel the world and see what else is out there. And he was ridiculed by many of his colleagues and said, you're crazy, doc. Like, and now you're going to do this stuff, and now you're going to go out of insurance and out of the, medical specialty and do something that's woo and crazy. And guess what? Even with all the fear, he said, as he did it, the results went, through the roof, and more people came to him than ever. And he got recognition for that. So I think a lot of times we get stuck in this pattern of just kind of following and being fearful, which many of us are. And that stunts our ability to think and even look at outside options. Take that other side, be devil's advocate, look at it and be really interested in learning both sides. I everyone has their kind of predisposed beliefs and everything in this world, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's wrong when you automatically delete the other side, where you automatically say, I'm not even going to listen to you. I'm right, you're wrong. And that leads to stagnation. And we know from all traditional things, stagnation is death in a sense. It leads you that way. Change is movement, it's energy, it's chi, it's all of these things. So, if I'm going to leave it anywhere, I would say continue to learn, continue to be like a child with this curiosity of what is out there and openness. Don't get stuck in your television and in fear and say no to anything else out there. Don't just take one side of the story. Look at all sides of the story and see what resonates with you, even if it goes against people in your family or others. That's okay. I have so many conversations with people that adopt this type of medicine. Like, yeah, but my father's really against it, and my spouse is really, it's like, okay, but guess what? When you come out healthy and you come out vibrant, you come out, trust me, they'll come on board. I've done so many interviews with people where they're like, I thought this was such BS when I started here. And then I experienced it. And that's a big part. My changing thought when I experienced it. Now I'm telling everyone, you got to do it. I don't even understand it yet, but I'm learning about it. I'm getting into it. So I think having that openness is such a big thing in healing and anti-aging and all of it, and continuously learning that like that. But you got to be open. You got to be willing to do it. And you have to also be in touch with yourself, that intuition and everything, and knowing, because otherwise it is a lot. There's a lot of information out there, but find what resonates with you and keep going, keep trying, and keep that, that book open and learning and going down rabbit holes. I love rabbit holes. It's just maybe you get caught in one and you go down too far, but there's so many to go out there and find what brings you joy, find what brings you happiness, keep doing that. I've realized that that's a lot of what healing is really tapping into that unleashed potential of self-healing. Healing never comes from the doctor. It never comes from the supplements or anything like that. It really starts with you. Those can act as guides and catalysts, but it's all in here already. Trusting yourself and kind of, build that up again and continue to think, be open and search for new ways. So that's what I kind of leave it at.
Beautiful. And what came to mind was when we're kids and we ask our parents, why? Why?
Yes.
Why? Start doing that. Start asking those questions again. Don't just take information at face value. Look at the data yourself, guys. Really look at the research. You guys can go on PubMed yourself and look at academic articles. It's really not that scary, but you definitely should. Having that childlike questioning mindset, that's where growth happens. That's where innovation happens. That's where we don't stay stagnant. And I just want everybody to know that, in my opinion, we're going through highly evolutionary times. There have been wind changes at the North Pole, and that is changing the electronics of the grids of our planet right now. So everything that we can do I actually DM'd you some information on that from Professor Lim. But just be aware of that these are highly evolutionary times. Things are highly reactive at the moment on the planet and also within our bodies. So I'm sure that people tuning in here, you listening, we're able to get at least one little tidbit of information, something that you can start to apply into your life today. And I just wanted to thank you, Caspar Szulc, for joining me here on the show here. It's an absolute pleasure having you on. Definitely going to have you on again.